Welcome to Breaking Beauty Podcast, Claudia. It's so great to meet you.
So lovely meeting you both. I thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God. We've been hearing so much about you and your product line. We're going to get into all of that. But for some of our audience may not be familiar with your journey. And can you share how you kind of got started chatting about beauty and getting started in the beauty world?
Of course. I'm originally from a suburb of Chicago. And I came up, I guess you can say, within this sort of like initial wave of YouTubers, content creators online. I was 13 when I first started making YouTube videos.
Wow.
And I know it is crazy to look back at it now because I didn't feel that young when I started it. I really, even though it was a hobby and a passion for me at the time, because no one really had turned it into a career. It was so early on. This was like 2009, and I think YouTube was created in 2005.
Yeah, it was like it was kind of like a blog in a way, right?
Exactly. YouTube basically had like parody spoofs and like videos of gorillas in zoos, random clips that people would like post that they filmed on their phone. But then, there was sort of like this first wave of content creators in all these different spaces. And so for me personally, I was a super just girly girl and fell right into the beauty fashion space, which is hilarious to think and look back at now because I was so young and no one should have been taking. What advice did I have to give at 13?
Right.
What was I doing?
Yeah.
I think my first video was a makeup tutorial. I like stole one of my mom's eyeshadow palettes.
Yeah.
And it was blue and I did like a blue eye makeup look. And
that's hilarious.
You know, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the most prized possession was in your makeup bag at 13 when you moved beyond stealing your mom's stuff?
Of course.
Was it like Dream Matte Mousse? Like what was it?
Okay. That's a deep cut. Actually so many come to mind. For starters, Coastal Scents eyeshadow palettes.
Oh.
Are you familiar with that?
No.
They were these eyeshadow palettes that had like 100 colors in them.
Oh, wow.
And so you had every color of the rainbow. There was also NYX jumbo eyeshadow sticks.
Iconic.
Okay.
I was like, the white one had a death grip on me because I would just put it as like the base on my lid and then whatever color from the Coastal Scents palette, just pop it on.
Yeah.
I feel like Hoola Bronzer, Benefit was certainly like one of my favorite brands for so long. Benetint.
Yeah. So for like a vlog that you do now, that's like a whole month kind of recap. That seems to be what you're doing. How often are you shooting that?
Yeah, I started this monthly format at the beginning of last year. And what I love most about it is it still feels really intimate and personal.
Yeah.
It allows me to also give myself that boundary and not share too much because I just spent like 13 years uploading weekly, and sharing so much of my life online and really felt the desire to just kind of step back just a little.
Yeah.
And I think what's fun about how this format has like evolved for me, I look at each month and each video as its own little storyline and like what is the story here? So, surprise, all the footage is not actually in order. I take everything. I basically like at the end of each week, I dump all the footage from my phone, my camera, whichever cameras. I'm always using like multiple different, devices. I just bring it all together and kind of like start editing and piecing it together throughout the month. But I spend that last week just kind of looking at, again, part of it is because how do I make this a compelling and interesting video if it's going to be 30 minutes long?
And you're still doing that yourself?
Long. I love to edit.
Really?
Like editing is one of my, it's definitely like in terms of content creation, that was one of the things that I think interested me from the very beginning is editing. I just think it's a whole nother kind of layer to the storytelling of it all, and brings everything together and adding music and cutting it on tempo and all these things. And so
can we hire you? I despise the editing.
I know
it's so hard.
Listen, like the simple, like just cutting through a conversation, that's tedious. Yes, I agree. That is tricky to do, and it just, it gets really repetitive. But if I can bring in some sort of like creative spin, like for example, for this month's video, right now my partner and I, we've been renovating our home and taking the opportunity to create some design choices anyways. And I've been filming the process, and I got a little mic, and I'm like walking around the house, and I'm like, we're going to do this here, this here. And in the edit, I have all of these designs and doodles that I draw on my iPad to show to our contractor to be like, okay, build this. And I discovered that you can like magnetic key like a body or a portion of your footage, kind of like green screen without having a green screen.
Whoa.
And so, oh, you guys, I got crazy with it.
She was nerding out.
Crazy with it. I like took my designs and I warped them in the footage to like basically add my drawings into the room that I'm standing in, but then like keyed out myself so that I was like walking in front of it. And it just elevated that portion of my video so much that I like, I'm going to make a whole bit and like pretend to have it be like an HGTV section of my video.
You're doing your own show.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And so I want to film like me and my boyfriend on the couch being like, babe, my favorite show's on. And then it's going to cut. And I like bought like an intro, like anyways. So
love it.
It for me, it's just finding a way to make it fun.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
really
like you're
important.
having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
You're so
Yes.
creative. That's
That's
apparent.
evident. Yeah.
And at some point you were tapped by Teen Vogue. This was back in 2015. What's your greatest memory of that time?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that happened around the same time I moved out to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So that period of my life, that was everything to me. I mean, for starters, of course, I grew up reading Teen Vogue and just have idolized, Teen Vogue. And I was 18 and I can't preface this enough. I was so young, and they approached me and asked if I could become their like YouTube kind of like internet personality host.
Okay.
And so under that umbrella, I would represent them on a red carpet. So they'd asked me to go to like a young Hollywood party and memorize certain questions for certain celebrities. And they would basically just like send out a cameraman with a camera and a microphone that says Teen Vogue on it. And I would just stand on that carpet and like represent Teen Vogue without having any experience. And that was such an incredible honor for me at the time, an opportunity, because it just taught me so much about just diving, headfirst into a whole new category of content. And it taught me just how to trust myself and that I can work under pressure. And I think also when I moved out to Los Angeles, I didn't know where it was going, but I was curious and wanted to take it as far as I could.
And was there any interview moment that stood out to you for better or for worse?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure I talked to Zendaya, which is so crazy because now, oh my gosh, she's just a
like
queen.
in her Disney Channel era.
Yes,
kind of.
exactly.
Wow.
A lot of like the Disney Nickelodeon world, but also another portion of like that partnership was also if they had any sort of photo shoot happening with an actor, singer, celebrity, I would come on and help with like the behind the scenes of it all. So Victoria Justice did something for Teen Vogue, and I had my own cameraman and kind of was able to create my own content behind the scenes on that set. So I would just have like days with different celebrities that I like idolized growing up.
So how did all of this lead to Cyklar? Like, when did this brand come along? We have it in front of us. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see. If not, we have the beautiful packaging. Like, honestly, the creative direction is just so good. So how did this come to be?
Yes. So I first launched Cyklar in late 2023 with one product, which was the body cream.
Okay.
It's in a glass jar. It's still available online today. And when I created my first product, I knew that I wanted to make something that delivered on performance and experience, which is sort of where the concept of like multi-sensory and sensorial came about. I really wanted to check off all of these different buckets, right? Okay, so for performance, what sort of skincare ingredients can I throw into this body product? Because, we emphasize a ton on like what can we do for the skin on our face, but the skin on our bodies also deserves, tender love and care. And just sort of going through that checklist. Okay, what is it? What does the, formula feel like? How does it transform on your skin? What does it smell like? What's the experience of like opening the jar or pumping out, the good stuff? And that's sort of where kind of like the sensorial world of it all kind of came about. And, in thinking about like why Cyklar and what the name stands for and all of this, anyone who's been following me for a decade plus now and has been watching my videos know sort of like my journey with self-care and taking care of myself. If you're reading the founder story on the About page on Cyklar, I briefly kind of mention about kind of falling into this pattern in my early adulthood of being a people pleaser. And so much of that has to do with sort of like, I think we're all definitely a product of our environment when we were children. And when I was younger, it's funny, I feel like oftentimes the habits you pick up or the characteristics or the way that you engage with those around you or walk into a room, oftentimes like whatever you take on that kind of like protects you when you're young, oftentimes like ends up being the thing that holds you back later in life. And that certainly was the case for me. Like when I was very young, like I love my parents, and I don't talk about too much like the darker parts of my childhood and going into the details of it, but like I really, for me, when I was younger, I kind of acted as this like tiny adult that like never wanted to really cause any sort of conflict or upset anyone. And like that certainly kind of manifested into being overly cautious of taking care of others, making sure that no one around me is unhappy or unsatisfied or upset. And it kind of manifested into codependency. And it's been interesting, like documenting my life and like starting to go through therapy and discovering like what the word codependency means, because I didn't think that I was like a codependent person. But it basically just means like having the desire to like control your environment as a way to protect yourself from getting hurt or feeling unloved or abandoned, all these different things. And so I reached a point where I realized, oh my gosh, I'm spreading myself so thin. And I just fell into this trap of like really always kind of taking care of others in a way that sacrificed my energy and reaching, to the point where I'm starting to like disappoint those in my life. And, it all kind of like, when I first started thinking about Cyklar and the idea of like body care. So this will all, I know this is kind of a long,
No.
we're getting into it.
No,
we're gonna full circle this whole moment.
No,
but,
you actually have a story, so I appreciate you sharing it.
But yeah, and so I think specifically with body care, it's been self-care, body care, all these things. Like I think for many people, it is very intimate and it's very emotional to give yourself the time and also understanding like the importance and the value in taking care of yourself. Like oftentimes that's the last thing we're thinking about, and it's the thing that you can brush off and brush off and brush off, right? This is like such a maybe like small example, but like showering, the way that like getting into water cleanses you, like emotionally, physically, all these things, and just, I think that's certainly kind of like why I want to get into the body space, because getting in touch with your body, it's just like, there's something so intimate and luxurious about like treating your body and not just your face, because we emphasize a ton, we got to wear sunscreen, we got to do this, we got to do this, but it really just like when I'm putting on lotion, like I'm doing that for me, and I can feel that, and I know that, and understanding that like that has value. And so building out these products, like I really just want to create formulas that like for starters, are worth those extra minutes, that time that you're giving to yourself, and also products that get you excited. I think like the most exciting feedback I've ever gotten is like specifically with the body wash, the amount of people that have commented or come up to me in person or even my friends that are like, this body wash has changed the way that I think about showers. And this is something that we're like doing every day.
Yeah.
But to get anyone excited to treat themselves, that's what I want to do with these products.
Yeah.
And of course also pack them with skincare ingredients so that they do perform. But yeah,
I'm diving in, guys.
Yeah,
they're
in there
in front
and
of
smell
us.
them.
And I immediately reached for the brown one that Liv Perez recommended. That's the
Sacred
Santal that
Yes.
she said that was her favorite. That's the bestseller.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so
what I've heard,
special.
it smells incredible.
I do need to ask you, Claudia, because a lot of people may not realize that you launched the brand with the body
cream.
Yes. I was going to say butter. It's not a butter. A body cream in 2023. And then about a year later, you did a brand refresh. So can you give us the real talk behind the scenes of how that all played out? Because, I'm sure you probably worked for, I'm assuming, years on getting the body cream sorted, getting it right, making it very personal to you. And then to kind of like pivot. And that's entrepreneurship. That's working for yourself.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people can relate to that. So talk us through that.
Of course. Feel free to smell them.
Yes. I didn't want to make noise while you were talking, but I'm doing it now.
So when I first launched Cyklar, yes, I created a body cream, and if you smell the gray one, Crescent, that's the original.
Oh,
lovely.
That's the original fragrance. And I have learned so much about starting small, launching with one SKU. I think if anyone listening here today is thinking about starting any sort of company, any sort of brand, there is no shame in starting small. With my first launch, I self-funded it. That's also part of it. I could only afford to formulate one product and see how it went, And I think what's also really great about launching with one product is you get that immediate feedback, girl.
Yeah.
Not only from, anyone that's trying out the product, and for me, I had a community that I could immediately, hear from and share it with, which is such a blessing just in terms of like making YouTube videos and having that platform. But not only getting their feedback, but also getting to experience what running a business is like, So at the time, I self-funded that first launch and brought on, different teams, design team, an incubator company that helped to build out that beautiful formula with me. But so much of it I was doing myself. Like Cyklar was one of one. I was the one employee doing all of the social media, the DMs, the customer support emails. I was processing returns at home. And I'm so grateful for that first launch and that time to really understand, like, okay, this is what it takes.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful time.
Yeah. You're getting your MBA
oh my gosh.
all of a sudden. Yeah.
It was a masterclass in like learning just so much about every single aspect and also understanding like what worked and what didn't work. When I first launched with the glass jar, I also launched these like compostable refill pouches, which I wanted to make work so badly, but I learned firsthand why we don't really see that in terms of like compostable materials with water-based formulas. They interact so quickly. The shipping was expensive. There was like a 5-day window for the customer to decant the formula out of the pouch, and if it sat on the counter for too long, it would start interacting and the moisture would leave. So that was not sustainable for the company, and it was too expensive for the customer and it was too expensive for me. And so around like a little over like a year ago now, I was introduced to my partner, Ben Bennett, and we sat down and we were like, okay, this Cyklar really is still just such a ball of clay. Let's pick out what do people love most, what do we love most about what's happening here, and allowing ourselves to like look at this as a refresh and a pivot and take in all of the different feedback. And part of that was lowering the price of the body cream and sort of like the price point of the brand and the story that we want to tell with it and all of that. And so I think it's so important as a founder and as an entrepreneur to understand that when you need to pivot, it can make or break your brand. I think about that first product, and I just spent so much time trying to perfect something that ultimately had its own flaws. Of course it did, you know,
and you had to let it go a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's such an important part of learning just how to own a business. You can't be precious about or you just can't. Yeah, you have to.
You have to be nimble.
You have to be flexible
in this day and age. We know that the scents are divine, and that's probably what people, initially are attracted to. What makes them kind of addicted to it? Like the Sacred Santal is so gorgeous. Talk to us about the feel, because we can't tell just by looking at it, or just like the benefits. What are some of the point of difference in the formula that you would say is different? Because honestly, a ton of body care launches have happened in the past 5 years. This category specifically has exploded. So you have a lot of competition.
Yes. I'm so excited that you asked this question. We're getting into it. So I'll start actually with the body wash. So this formula, I am so proud of this formula, and I geek out anytime I get to talk about it because
we love a geek out.
We love to get nerdy with it. So this body wash, it's infused with a multi-oil complex, and it also has glycerin in it. And it using it in the shower, like, it transforms. It has a very kind of like almost like serum-y kind of, like, if you were to put it between your fingers, like, it would kind of stretch.
Okay.
So it's got this like silky cushion to it that lathers beautifully. And once you rinse it off in the shower, like, you will feel that layer of moisture on your skin. I remember the first time my boyfriend Finneas started using samples, because obviously I just have like little samples in every single crack and crevice of our home back then and right now. And so he's sort of like my guinea pig, and I try everything on him as well as myself, obviously. But I remember the first time he used this, he was like, yeah, this feels great, but I feel like I really have to wash it off. And I'm like, no. That's
such a dude answer.
Is the moisture that's left on your skin.
Yeah.
It's because
you're
moisturized.
Exactly.
Shocking.
I'm like, no. That is the oil. That is the glycerin.
Yes.
That is the product doing its job.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for you guys to try this in the shower, because you will feel that, and you step out just feeling moisturized, which I think is unique for a body wash, because I think first and foremost, like, it needs to get the dirt and the grime off. But I really wanted to create a product that also you could feel on your skin stepping out.
Is that his favorite then, the Sacred Santal, or what does he?
He goes back and forth. I'm trying to think what his favorite. He's a naked neroli lover. Yes.
Naked neroli.
Yes. He also like
the red one.
He it's like an orange. His favorite color is orange. Okay. And we're categorizing this as like an orange.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's an orangey red.
I'm like,
yes.
I'm like, is it placebo? Like, is it your favorite because it's also orange? But he really loves the fragrance.
It's like a citrusy, like, brighter scent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a neroli. So this is our first floral, like proper floral, and it's sort of like, I like to describe it as like blissful and sun-soaked and juicy, and it's not like a grandma floral,
Yeah.
Orange blossom,
gorgeous.
right? Like, it's a neroli orange blossom. So lovely. And any other hints about maybe like what else has been inspiring you? Maybe what else you're working on for?
Yes. I think with Cyklar, it's tapping into the fragrance space has been so much fun, and such a big part of the brand. And I think also continuing to tell the story of skincare for your body. So this year I'll be launching a lot of like skincare kind of driven products that focus on certain skin concerns, certain parts of the body. So I'm excited to kind of get into that. Fragrance-free versions of those products. And
awesome. Love it.
I'm so curious too. Did you ever consider yourself a quote unquote nose, like they call it in the business? Like, how did you take to that process? Because you're going to get a ton of samples of different fragrances.
Yes.
Or do you work with it?
Yeah. Like, are you able to discern this has too much sweetness? This is a little too, like, that is a whole language.
It is an entire language.
Tell me your experience.
I am in the depths of learning that language. You know, I think before starting Cyklar, I knew what I gravitated towards most. I knew what I liked, what I didn't like. And in creating these fragrances, we work with wonderful fragrance houses that we'll give them an idea of like, we want a bergamot that feels warm, and because bergamot is mostly like a citrusy kind of refreshing fragrance traditionally, and we wanted it to still feel grounded and musky. So we'll describe sort of like what we're looking for, and then just start sort of the process of getting a sample, being like, okay, it's missing this or it's missing that, and just kind of comparing different mods. And it is an entire language.
Yes.
And so there are fragrance days where I'm in the office and we are smelling just 50 plus versions of like, virtually very similar, subtle differences. And one of the things that I learned, how people say to like smell coffee beans and to like, so that
reset.
Is a myth. You shouldn't be smelling coffee beans. You should be smelling something neutral. So if you're not wearing perfume, like for example, just your skin. So like I'll often smell like my elbow.
The crook of your elbow or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So to reset your nose, if you're perfume shopping, you're at a retailer, you're smelling different things. Instead of like reaching for the little bowl of coffee beans that they have, just smell like, something neutral, which is usually your
Interesting.
skin.
Any dream perfumers you want to work with? Like I'm just going to say, I just wrote about Billy's new fragrance called Your Turn, because she worked with Frank Vocal, everybody. And if you're a beauty nerd like me, he created Santal 33 and he created Glossier You. So I was like very into that. It's like, looks like dice. Very cool. But do you have anybody on your roster?
I mean,
perfumers?
that right there.
Paging Frank. We do follow each other on Instagram.
Top.
Were you a tester for that one? Were you a tester for that one?
For that one? No, it's, what's funny is like anytime I smell a new fragrance of Billy's, I'm like, oh, I've been smelling that for 8 months,
that's so funny.
Which is really sweet. So there's a nostalgia already like built in for me.
Cute.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what she's been smelling like for the last 6 months.
Oh my gosh,
which is
there
very
you have
sweet.
it.
So that happened.
Yeah. She's actually wearing it. That's so cool. Yeah. So we are a beauty podcast after all. So we have to get all of your best beauty hacks and tricks and skin, hair, makeup. Your skin is insane, by the way. So what are some of your favorite products for skincare? From the neck up when you're not using Cyklar.
So my skin is pretty forgiving in terms of reactivity and breakouts. For me, the focus really is retinol. I'm now getting on to using retinol every day and starting to build up my skin's tolerance, but like a not like a prescribed something crazy tretinoin, like just like kind of like just a gentle retinol. Really focusing on skin barrier. So for example, right now I've been really loving this like rice water from Beauty of Joseon.
Oh yeah.
So that's like the first thing that I'll pat on my face.
It's like
it feels
an essence,
like basically
kinda.
water.
Yeah.
And it's to start your skincare with like a wet skin, it allows the product to sink in better. So I'll use that. And then I love using either the Rhode like milk on my face or Prequel also has like this half and half that's like a little bit thicker that also has this like beautiful milky texture, and then using like a cream and then using a thicker cream. So I love just like I'm very hydration focused with my skin, and then sunscreen, of course. You guys, this is a timely, this is a sensitive. So did you see that like a new law passed where like UV filters that are not FDA approved like cannot be sold or shipped to America?
Yes, I've seen this.
I love the Beauty of Joseon like aqua sunscreen. I have like 3 sitting in my cabinet, and you can't buy them anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do once I run out.
They're probably, I'm going to guess that they'll do some reformulating for the North American market, for good or for bad. Because
they do have one.
Yes.
They have like a
Okay.
mineral
That's
one. I haven't
good.
tried it.
Okay.
Just different. It's just
Here
different.
it's
Sorry.
different.
Yeah, it's different.
Oh, what's the retinol?
The retinol right now I'm using IOP.
I don't know that one.
It's,
How do you spell it?
I believe it's K-Beauty, IOP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I
We
think
will
they
link
have
to
a few
everything.
different
It's on Soko
retinols.
Glam. They have that
Okay.
brand. It's a
Mhm.
K-beauty brand. Yeah.
We're going to
Um,
link to that on our website.
Yeah. I
everyone.
mean, so for me personally, like, I try out so many different products, which
Yeah.
maybe is not great. You should
Yeah.
really be more consistent.
You're speaking to the choir here.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
I know.
there's so much to try, and it's
our
just
job.
so fun, and
our
it's
Yeah.
job.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
No, for sure. Consistency is key.
Yeah, but I like to think about like the texture of whatever I'm putting on, and just like making sure it's in the right order, you know.
Sure.
And if I'm using like a vitamin C, knowing
Yeah.
that I'm using that, you know, underneath my moisturizer, of course, sunscreen on top, doing that in the
Yes.
morning, you know, just kind of like, so having like those pillars, and then just like allowing whatever you're
Yeah.
trying out to fall under those.
Mhm.
So I try to keep like the order of operations consistent,
Mhm.
but the products themselves.
Yeah.
So who's your go-to person in LA for like facials?
Okay, so here's the thing. I am so bad at getting facials.
Okay.
If you were to tell me today, where am I going in? I'm going to Biba.
Okay.
Finneas has had his own skincare journey, and she has like truly saved his skin. He was struggling with acne for most of his life, and she's like transformed his skin. It's been amazing, and her products are wonderful. And I also love Leslie at Skin Worship. I had
Ooh.
a facial from her last year, and she was wonderful, and I keep meaning to go back in. But you guys, I think this is like the part where I still am like not giving myself the time or the
Yeah.
justification to do
Right.
it. But I've had like maybe 5 facials. in my
Yeah.
life.
You're blessed
Like,
though. You're
Wow.
blessed.
I think it's part of it because since I don't have, I mean, I have blackheads under
Mhm.
the concealer you can't see
Right.
right now, so I should probably be getting those extracted way more than I
Yeah.
am. But, you know, you really can do so much at home
It's
with
true.
physical and
Yeah.
chemical exfoliants.
And it's only you have your skincare routine on lock, which is half the battle, right?
yes,
Mhm.
totally.
But I'm guessing, and I think I read this, is that your background or your mom is Polish?
Yes, both my parents.
Okay,
are.
if you ever need to see anyone in LA, Joanna Check. She's
Ooh.
Polish.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I had one of the best facials in my life at her studio. She's a character and she's fantastic. And I just feel like, you know, the Eastern Euro girlies get it
Yep.
with skincare. I
Yep.
feel like there's
I bet you just went to town on
Yeah.
anything. that
she
she
has so many modalities, these wands and
Amazing.
you're lifted, you're hydrated, there's red light, she's touching your hands, like it's just like a car wash, but for your face in the best way possible. So if you're ever looking,
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, thank you for that
Yeah.
recommendation. I rarely meet anyone Polish out here. I'm fluent in Polish,
oh,
and
you are.
the older I'm getting, like I can understand everything, but I start to forget certain words,
Okay.
and it takes a second. So I try to talk to my mom in Polish, like on the
Okay.
phone as much as I can.
Yeah.
But I'm just imagining like me
yeah.
in the chair with her and just gabbing in Polish.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Which would also be great.
Amazing.
An added
Hitting two-
benefit
yeah, yeah,
of
yeah,
going
hitting
to
two
see
birds with one
her.
stone.
She's incredible. She also has a great skincare line as well. And what about your makeup routine? Because I'm noticing I like your lip like combo. I feel like, what do you have going on today?
So right now, I think the way that I'm doing my makeup now, and I think it definitely follows like sort of what's in the zeitgeist and what's
Yeah.
trending right now, which I really love, is like an emphasis on skin and not feeling the need to like do a full face of foundation.
Mhm.
You know, I think like I feel like when I really, around like 2014 or just early on in like my YouTube years, the trend was definitely like beating the face, you know, like baking under your
Mhm,
eyes, doing like super, I mean, my
Blocked out
eyebrows.
eyebrows,
Yes. I was a part of all of those trends, of course, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm just loving kind of like where we've landed, because it sort of feels like, again, it feels like this like pendulum or something, but
Yeah.
like for me personally, like what my makeup routine right now is, I'll do all my skincare and then I'll do like a cream bronzer and kind of use that to like add warmth in my face, but also contour just a little bit. I'll do a cream blush and then I'll take a concealer on the back of my hand with a little face brush or like a concealer brush and just start kind of buffing where I need it. And that being like my only coverage, like letting the bronzer and blush be your coverage in those areas. Can't believe
That's
I
very
didn't
French
discover
girl.
that sooner.
That's very French girl as well.
And I think also like, you know, I'm starting to develop, you know, little like creases around my mouth here and, you know, because we're moving our faces, we're smiling, all these things. And I find that like the less product you have in those areas, the less it like clumps up and creates a crease.
For sure.
And so keeping those areas like pretty clear of products too has been fun to experiment with. And then the rest of it, I mean, it's pretty simple. I always just do like, I'll do like just some sort of like taupey or bronzy color to like contour the eyes in the crease, do a tiny little wing with eyeshadow, kind of buff it out. I have allergies right now, so my eyes have been like, I've been crying actually throughout this entire interview. If you're watching this. So I don't know if the wing has already disappeared at this point.
No, you
halfway
look
through the
great.
day, I'm like, and it's gone on the right eye. And then natural brows, you know, I think, and I was thinking about this in the car today, but I feel like I've also like, I've been thinking about like my kind of like beauty influences growing up. And I'm realizing like, oh my gosh, this is how my mom has always done her makeup. She normally doesn't wear too much makeup, but when she does, like, I don't think I've ever seen her with foundation on her face.
Yeah.
She would always just do a little bit of blush, a little bit of highlight, some mascara, maybe like a fun like green eyeliner, but then that was like kind of it, you know, like she wasn't. And it's been like really sweet to kind of come back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm like doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What are your faves?
Cool.
What's your favorite concealer?
Okay, right now I'm using the Make Beauty Skin Mimetic. Love that
Somebody
one.
mentioned this to us recently, I think. Yeah.
It's
okay.
having a moment
Okay,
right now.
all right.
But it's been out for a while and it's so good.
Okay.
I love Armani Beauty.
Yeah,
like
it's so
in
good.
terms of foundation, because often I'll just use like a foundation like a concealer. The Luminous Silk. I mean, I just love it.
I'm wearing it right now.
Yep. And I'm trying to think what other
What
favorites I
about
have.
your blush and your bronzer go to? Because there is a lot of blush choice right now.
Okay, I splurged recently and I got the like Chanel cream bronzer.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Did you?
I did.
It's on my
I
face
didn't
right
want to
now.
interrupt you, but I knew.
Oh my god!
Wow.
And I've only had it for like a week. Like it is brand new. The
Yeah.
swirl
Yeah.
is still in the product
The shape.
Like it
Oh.
still
So
has
this is
the
the one
same
like in the
swirl.
tub, everyone, and
Yes.
it's like it looks like you're dipping into a dessert
Yes,
when you put it on
Wow.
the
It's
cream.
amazing.
Ugh.
Okay, cool.
it's so nice.
I need
I'll
to
just
try
use
this.
that and like fill in my eyebrows most days. That's
Okay.
it.
And what do you do for brows?
For brows, I use the Kosas pencil. It's like in a bright purpley pink packaging. And with brows specifically, I just keep getting like lighter and more natural as the years go by. But I draw out individual strokes on the inside. And then I like, my eyebrows are quite arched. And I kind of fake like a more kind of like flatter.
Straight?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. Straighter
Cool.
shape. And then I love the Benefit Browsings gel. It's so
nice.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one in like the silver bottle.
Still a benefit.
Benefits.
Girly.
They still
Listen.
do brows well.
What about
They
the
do.
eyeshadow? Because you just have like a very subtle flick, but it's like a taupe, so it's kind of unique. What is it?
I'm forgetting the name of it, but there's a YSL eyeshadow quad
Mm-hmm.
that's like black leather on the outside, and it just has like a dark brown, which is
The
what my
chevron?
yes,
I think I've
yes,
seen that. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So I'm using the lighter brown in there, just on the eyes and the lower lash line. And there's a dark brown in there that I
Okay.
use with like a little angled brush, and I just flick out a little
Pretty.
wing.
Mhm.
Ilia's mascara. I'm wearing the black one, but they just came out with
Yes.
the brown, and
I
I'm so
know.
excited.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
That's what I have in my eyes.
I need to ask you, because you're a Midwest girly
Yes.
and you moved to LA like a decade ago. What's the most LA thing about you now in terms of like what you do for wellness?
Everything.
Really?
I'm so LA coded. It's disgusting. Absolutely. Like you name it. Like
Okay,
literally.
cold
Have you had
plunge.
an avocado
Yes.
today?
Yes. Like yes, the cold plunging and sauna.
You have at your
Um,
house.
Yes. that's something that Finneas is so good at taking care
Okay.
of himself and carving out that time. And so it's really like when he's doing it, I'm tagging along.
Okay.
Right.
I rarely think to do it myself, but he's
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go sauna plunge. I'm like, yep, I'm going to go do I'm in the middle of something, but you know what? I'm going to do it because otherwise I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like psych yourself up. 'Cause
Yes.
it's cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I get super chilly when it's like, it's 50 degrees,
Yeah.
60
Yeah.
degrees out here. I'm going on hikes with my dogs. I'm eating avocado toast.
Yeah.
I'm a matcha girly.
Yeah.
I am through
Doing
and
the most.
through.
Do you
You've
have
embraced
your
it.
own tarot card reader? Like
Okay, okay. Zodiac signs, tarot cards. I like to dabble in it with my friends because I have friends that are super
Yes.
passionate about it, but I'm not like reading my horoscope.
I see. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that like I don't feel the
You have to live here
need.
for like at least 15 years
Yeah,
before
I
you
think
do
maybe
that.
that's like the next
Yeah,
ring.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly,
You
like
know how
that's
it's
the
like
next-
1 week living in LA.
Yes.
Like 1 month living in
Then
LA.
it's like then
Yeah.
you get then
Yes.
it's like Erewhon smoothie is the top goal.
Yeah. You'll eventually be wearing
Exactly.
tie-dye probably.
I will say this is, and here's where maybe it, I was led astray to all of this, but like I remember it was either like my first or second date with Finneas. I'm Ubering, and the Uber was like, "So where you going?" And I was like, "I'm going on a date," and she was like, "Oh my God, what's his sign? What's your sign?" I was like, "He's I think a Leo, and I'm a Pisces," and she goes, "Not gonna work. It's not gonna happen."
Oh my God.
So
So
riddle me
LA.
that.
Yeah.
Riddle me
Oh
that,
my
Los
God.
Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the most LA coded thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard. That's
Yep.
amazing. Okay, just before you go, we need to talk a little bit about your acting career because you've been dipping your toes into more and more acting roles. Like you were on Apple TV Shrinking, and I know you have a few indie films and projects. Anything you can share about anything coming up this summer or?
Yeah, I am in midst of shooting something right now. I don't know what I
Okay,
can and
stay
can't say.
tuned.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so stay
Okay.
tuned. But acting has certainly always been such a dream and passion of mine, and that side of my career, it's definitely taken the longest to foster because I think I've just like wanted to go about it with grace and hire coaches and doing like scene partner work and all that stuff. And also there's so much that's out of your control with acting.
Yeah.
So the amount of projects that everyone auditions for, it's a whole lot of no's, and so it's something that will always be such a huge passion of mine. And if I get to do it into my like late stages of life, I will be so happy and so grateful. But yeah, it's something that you just don't have a lot of control in.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I've been really lucky to book what I have and shot what I have, and I'm just so excited to see kind of where all of that goes. And
Mm.
and I also certainly I think my like YouTube roots like keep calling to me to direct, and that is also
Oh, cool.
something that I am working towards at the moment.
Okay, very
Right.
cool. What were all these looks you were sharing on your Instagram? It looked like a character.
Yes,
was
that
like-
was a short film.
Okay, yeah. What was that?
We shot that 2 years ago. It was a while, but it had the whole festival run, and it finally found its home. So I've been sort of like, I had all these behind the scenes photos that I
Yeah.
wasn't able to post until it was out.
Yeah.
So I've been posting them, and what's
kind
funny
of like
is
Maude, like the
Yes.
looks, very 60s.
so good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the director, Caroline, I just love her brain, and she just created this whole world, and the sets were
Yeah,
beautiful. And
yes.
she paid attention to every single detail, which
Yeah.
is just, beautiful.
Fun.
You know what's funny about that is I've been blonde for a while now, and I was brown in that brown hair in
yeah.
that short film. And my hair colorist texted me this morning, and he was like, "Girl, please tell me that this is a wig. This is not your hair." I was like, "I would never. I'm gonna come to you."
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
sacrilegious. Wait, who's the go-to for hair color?
Matt Rez.
Oh,
he's
he's
the
amazing.
best.
He's the
Love
best.
Matt.
Yes.
He's been on our show. He's so great.
Yeah, I came to him like a little over a year, maybe 2 years ago now. I don't know. Whenever I first started going blonde, I went to
Yeah.
him because he knows. Like,
Yeah. He did
is
my hair
such
once.
an artist.
He did my hair once, and I was like, if I lived in LA, he would for sure. He actually invited me, and I was like, I can't maintain, but he's
Yeah.
like, he's truly the best.
He's incredible. incredible.
Yeah, love
Just-
him.
yeah.
Yeah, your hair
An
looks
expert
great.
in his field.
Yeah.
He's so good with like highlights and
Yes.
understanding what hair looks like, and it's it's like a sculpture. It's 3D.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll link to
so-
that episode, everyone. You can hear from him.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on our show. We loved hearing your story and it being introduced to your products. So thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm so excited for you guys to
Yay.
get into it.
Yay,
And
thank
thank
you.
you so much for having me. This
Of
was so much fun.
course. This was great. My everything shower is about to be elevated. I can tell. Thank you, Claudia.